The 90s were a defining decade for rock music, with a fresh wave of sounds that pushed the genre into new territories. This era saw the rise of iconic bands that shaped music culture, with their powerful lyrics and innovative sounds becoming the soundtrack of a generation. Bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains brought grunge to the mainstream and revolutionized rock. Radiohead, Stone Temple Pilots, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers also left their mark with unforgettable albums and performances that defined the 90s. In today's video, we will be looking at some underrated gems, bands that had the talent, the sound, and the energy, but didn't quite reach the heights of fame they deserved. So hold on to your seats, turn up the volume, and let's talk about the forgotten heroes of 90s rock. Spacehog was a British-American alternative rock band that formed in New York City in 1994. They stood out in the 90s alt-rock scene with their glam rock influences, theatrical sound, and soaring melodies, setting them apart from the grunge-heavy landscape of the era. Their music blended David Bowie, Queen, and T-Rex style glam with a modern alt-rock edge. Their hit songs include In the Meantime was a massive hit, but they struggled to replicate its success. By the late 90s, alternative rock was moving toward post-grunge, nu metal, and pop-punk, leaving Spacehog's glam rock revival behind. Harvey Danger was a Seattle-based alternative rock band best known for their sharp, witty lyrics and infectious melodies. Their music blended elements of indie rock, power pop, and post-grunge, often featuring a mix of irony and introspection. Their sound had a mix of raw, garage band energy and clever, almost literary songwriting. They leaned into jangly melodic rock with a slightly punky attitude, fitting well with late 90s alt-rock trends. Their hit songs include Flagpole Sitta was a massive hit, but the band struggled to replicate that success. Their second album, King James Version, was released in 2000. Just as alternative rock was declining in mainstream popularity, poor promotion from their record label didn't help. Blind Melon was a unique 90s rock band that blended alternative rock, folk, blues, and psychedelic influences. Their sound was defined by soulful, free-spirited jams, intricate guitar work, and the distinctively raw vocals of frontman Shannon Hoon. Unlike the heavier grunge acts of their era, Blind Melon leaned into a more organic, almost hippie-like vibe, making them stand out. Their hit songs include The massive success of No Rain overshadowed their deeper, more experimental music. Many people never explored their other songs. Hoon struggled with drug addiction and sadly died of an overdose in 1995, just as the band was trying to expand their sound. His loss devastated the group. By the mid to late 90s, alternative rock was shifting towards post-grunge and nu metal, leaving Blind Melon's jam band sound somewhat out of place. Crash Test Dummies were a Canadian folk rock band best known for their quirky lyrics, offbeat storytelling, and the unmistakably deep baritone voice of frontman Brad Roberts.
Once there was this kid who...
Their music blended folk, alternative rock, and pop, often featuring a mix of humor and introspection. Their hit songs include
Superman never made any money, deceiving the world. Someday I'll have a disappearing LA.
Their odd storytelling and deep vocals made them memorable but also polarizing. As music moved towards post-grunge, nu metal, and pop punk, their folk-influenced rock lost mainstream traction. Silverchair was an Australian alternative rock band that exploded onto the scene in the mid-90s with a grunge-heavy, Nirvana-esque sound. Fronted by Daniel Johns, they evolved over time, moving from a raw, angst-driven grunge style to more experimental and orchestral rock. Their hit songs include As grunge lost popularity, Silverchair adapted, but their new experimental sound alienated some early fans. Despite being massive in Australia, they never had the same sustained push in the US as bands like Nirvana or Pearl Jam. The Toadies were a Texas-based alternative rock band known for their raw energy, dark storytelling, and a mix of grunge, punk, and southern rock influences. Their music had an edgy, aggressive tone with eerie, sometimes unsettling lyrics that set them apart from the typical 90s alt-rock scene. Their hit songs include Despite their talent, they were often lumped in with bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden, making it hard to stand out. After their second album, Hell Below Stars Above, in 2001, they broke up for several years, making it hard to maintain mainstream success. Candlebox was a Seattle-based rock band that emerged during the height of the grunge explosion, but had a more polished, blues-influenced sound compared to their grittier counterparts. Their music was a mix of grunge, hard rock, and classic, rock-inspired melodies, making them stand out with a more radio-friendly approach. Their hit songs include
Hey, but you left me far behind. And I'll tell you now how I feel inside. Feeling my heart is for you. Cover me, yeah. My stance is stumble.
Because their sound was more polished and radio-friendly, some critics and hardcore grunge fans didn't take them as seriously as bands like Alice in Chains or Pearl Jam. By the late 90s, grunge had faded, and Candlebox's more traditional rock sound didn't fit the nu metal and pop punk era that followed. Sponge was a Detroit-based alternative rock band that emerged in the mid-90s, blending grunge, post-punk, and classic rock influences. Their music had a raw yet melodic sound, featuring energetic riffs, catchy hooks, and a slight psychedelic edge. While they scored some big hits, they never reached the sustained mainstream success of their peers. Their hit songs include As the 90s wore on, grunge and alt-rock lost their grip, making it harder for Sponge to stay relevant. They had talent, but they were competing with giants like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Stone Temple Pilots, making it tough to stand out long-term. Portishead was a UK-based band that played a crucial role in defining trip-hop, a genre blending electronic beats, jazz influences, and moody atmospheres. Their music was dark, cinematic, and melancholic, with frontwoman Beth Gibbons' haunting, fragile vocals adding an eerie beauty to their sound. Their hit songs include
Give me a reason to love you. 'Cause nobody loves me. It's true. How can it feel this wrong?
Portishead was not interested in fame. They rarely did interviews, avoided big tours, and had long gaps between albums. While hugely influential, trip-hop never became a dominant mainstream genre like grunge or Britpop. So there you have it. The 90s were a transformative time for rock music, with so many incredible bands leaving their mark on the scene. So the next time you're diving into 90s rock, remember that there's a treasure trove of hidden gems waiting to be discovered. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this trip back to the 90s, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into music history. Who knows? Maybe the next time you're spinning a classic 90s track, you'll be rocking out to an underrated band that changed the game.